Hello.
Hello, hello.
This is good.
How are you?
I am okay. How are you?
Okay. A little tired today, moving a little slow. Hello, Kimberly. Hi, Charity. Hi, Shanetta. Hi, Tracy. Came down with a little cold or something on Saturday. So I've just been a little under the weather.
Oh,
So just dragging.
need a hot toddy.
Yeah, had some Theraflu, daytime Theraflu. I'm ready. When this is over, I'm going to take something to put me to sleep just so I can just rest. Thank you, Sharnetta. Oh, it's been rainy here today. Rainy, but it was 60 degrees today. 60 degrees, but raining all day. And then I think it's going to be like that tomorrow and
Okay.
dropping again down to the teens. On like Wednesday, it's going to start dropping again. Weather's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's overcasted here. We've had basically overcasted days, but I wouldn't say it's warm. It's warm for probably ever play it. It's 69 degrees, but that's not really warm. It's just
Well,
kind of
60, I mean, compared to like where the
yeah,
norm for me this time of year is 30 degrees. So the fact that it was 60 is
exactly.
just
That's
like,
it.
what?
Yeah. But
So
it's
69 is
cool.
nice.
Yeah, 69. We get up to the 70s, but it's still breezy. Definitely you can feel it's cold air circulated. So when you go outside, you need a jacket, sweater. Like that's why I wear sweaters because I need a little something because it's a little nippy out there. But and we get to the
Wow.
30s. So in the morning, it's like
Yeah.
30, 30
Yeah, it's
something
low.
degrees. Like, ooh.
Sharnetta said it snowed there in New York. Wow.
No, that's what I don't want. Hey, Miss Lisa, I just don't want the snow.
Hi, LaShawn. How are you?
Hey guys, can y'all hear me?
Yes,
We can
now we
hear
can.
you. Mhm.
Mhm.
You can't hear us?
I can't hear y'all.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
Oh,
I can't hear a thing.
you can't. Go out and come back in.
Mhm.
Hmm. I was getting ready to say something before LaShawn popped in. Now I can't remember what it is.
Snow.
Hi, Tawana. Yeah, the last thing you said was snow. And then I was gonna say something. I'm not all here.
Everyone, can you hear me now?
We can hear
We can
you.
hear you.
Still can hear you.
Ah, why can't you hear us? Because we could
Do
hear
you have,
us.
I wish I need her to tell me if she has something else plugged in.
Oh, do you have headphones plugged in?
Hello?
There
Can
you
you
go.
hear us now?
Nothing.
That's better.
Unplug them. Unplug them.
Hi.
Yeah. She has something that's causing her audio to go somewhere else. So that's probably why she's not hearing us, but we hear her.
I guess let me try again.
Okay.
There
There
we
she is.
go.
Okay. Can you
You hear
hear?
us now?
Yes, it was in the audio settings. It was connected to my headset.
That's got it.
Yeah. Good. Got it.
Good
Got it.
evening.
Hello.
Hello, ladies.
Hello.
How are you?
Doing well, doing well. Thank you so much for joining us. Let me introduce you to the community, or I'll do the pre-introduction, and then I'll let them hear from you about kind of your background. So LaShawn Sanders is this amazing founder, and she is in a space that, while we've all heard about it, I've never known anybody that worked in the industry. And so when we met LaShawn, it was so wonderful to hear about, us being in this space and not just working in the space, but being a boss in the space. And the space is the clinical trial space. And it was just such a pleasure talking to her and learning about the business, that outside of us helping her raise some capital a few months ago, what we wanted to do was expose the community to the space, right? I mean, so I wanted to, have LaShawn talk to us about how we can, and when I say we, I mean you, I got enough jobs, how you all can get into this space that's untapped to some extent, right? And learn about it, build wealth from it, because it's not going anywhere. I mean, you think about clinical trials, we've heard about them all of our lives, right? And the industry is just growing. I can tell you, I work a lot with the pharmaceutical companies in my day job, and they're not going anywhere, right? The manufacturers are still making drugs, and medical technology is on the rise, right? And so this is a space we really, really need to get in and learn more about. So with that said, I am so excited to introduce you to Ms. LaShawn Sanders. LaShawn, please talk to the community about kind of your background, how you got here, right? And all about the business. And we'll just keep it really informal. Unless you had a presentation, we could keep it. We could
I
just
do
talk.
not. I didn't
Good.
know
So
if I
that's even better.
did.
So we can just chit chat a little bit.
Well, first of all, community, two of the most amazing leaders that I have had an opportunity to even come in encounter with, is Tawana, Talisha. When I say about their community, and going to make sure they come together and make it happen. So ladies, thank you for the opportunity to have this platform. I am LaShawn Sanders, guys, from passion driven to wanting to see change in our community has given me this opportunity to start. So I started, guys, working for pharma. So people often talk about career to CEO. And that's kind of the path that I took, because you hear so many times, let's step away from that day job and let's just run after your passion. But it took me some time from career to CEO, and that's where I am today. So I really kind of understood the model of seeing drugs go to market, from working with the clinical research organizations, from then working with our sponsors like J&J, Pfizer, GSK, you name them. Those things you go and look on the shelf, or when you receive a medication from your pharmacist, those are the companies that I had an opportunity to be infused with for many, many years, over 18 plus, before I decided to take on this community impact approach to learning why we were not present in clinical trials. And guys, you've seen it, the Tuskegee program, back in the day, when we talk about how African American women were used for science without even given any type of, as they call it, anesthesia, and then taking that data, the syphilis project from the Tuskegee, and having everyone that looks like me and you afraid to even participate. And so my mission has been to break those barriers, and we're doing it, and really change what that framework looks like. And it's a market that no one's talking about. And really, when people started waking up about this market was around COVID, when you kept seeing Dr. Fauci come on TV and keep talking about, we got to put the clinical trial for the COVID vaccine. And we still were afraid in our community because, one, we were dying at an alarming rate because, again, the health equality was still not there even in COVID. And as we're still dying at an alarming rate because of the fact that we're underinsured and so many other things, and or there's so many stigma that I'm gonna try grandma's home remedy. And yes, those still work, but we still need science, right? And so that has been my claim to fame, being able to stand on the shoulders of people that went before me, but now being able to come part of this community and share how even that passion turns into revenue, and then it turns into an opportunity to actually, what really pushed me was being able to leave some wealth behind for our children. I couldn't leave my career, but I can leave building this brand, whether it's scalable to sellable, or whether they take it over, the empower and continue the mission. That's what clinical research will allow. As Tawana said earlier, it's going nowhere. It's actually going to more improve because you're seeing healthcare, tank. Given the events that happened last week in New York, with United Healthcare, tanking. We are at that forefront. So what I love about what I do, everything we give to patients is no cost. And we're incentivizing them to come in and see about their health care, get a free cholesterol check that they might not have done, continue to watch things that are going on in their disease state. And that's kind of how we've been able to continue to push this along. But as I said with Tawana and all the time, we got to keep the lights on. And so this is one of those that it's business to business. Our main consumer is our patients, but they're excited to be a part of this when they see someone that sounds and looks like their community. So pause for a moment for questions, but just a brief interview of this long journey that I've taken, but now a new journey that we're embarking in to really make sure that we now can touch nations in the community that looks like me and you.
One of the things I love, LaShawn, is how you go to where the people are, right? You've established these relationships with doctors' offices, right? And so now I'm a community member that may be underinsured or uninsured, right? I can now not just get access to whatever the clinical trial is about, get access to that kind of care, but they're to your point you just made, they're checking all these other things with me as well, right? So I'm getting my vitals checked. They're doing other kind of blood work on me, which at the end of the day could help me identify something I didn't know I was dealing with outside of what we're working on from a clinical trial standpoint. And you're meeting people in their community and bringing healthcare to them. Can you talk a little bit about that? I think that's one of the amazing parts of what you do.
And when you say that, bringing it to them, it's like, okay, I'm coming in because of the fact, we'll talk about a healthy volunteer. Sometimes we're having a study of a healthy volunteer, and it requires to run those preliminary things that you would do and just a regular physical. And then we identify, hey, your cholesterol is, high. What are you doing anything? Are you taking anything for this? And they may say, hey, I never knew that. And then so we then at this point, because we are connected, we look for those clinics that will actually see patients, we have Good Samaritans. They actually see patients, or federal health qualified centers that see patients off of their income. So whether you have $10 or $40, you can get in seen. And now you have a medical record. And I'm such a visual person, right? So I had to grab a piece of paper, but you walking in and we printed off a medical record you could take in there, or we could scan it over and fax it over. And you now, the provider has somewhere to start. And so, but again, you might not have caught that person if they were not being incentivized to come in. But now they found someone that cares about their health. And so it's becoming a care option. And so it really changes, but then they're going to continue to be in a study. So they got to come back to you. And now you are ping-ponging back and forth, but we're saving someone from a heart attack. We're saving someone for losing a limb. We are changing that framework of, it's not scary no longer to go to the doctor. I'm a Black woman, I'm a Black man, and I can have preventative health care too. So that's what we are doing, Tawana. And then also, we take a little bit more time in the research center with the patient. You guys know with insurance, you need to be out in 15, 30 minutes. You can stay with us for about an hour and we're going to listen because again, yes, we do our visits can be 45 minutes to an hour, but while we're listening, we're looking for those adverse events that you're going to see when you print off that, you guys always receive them when we go to the pharmacy. You get this long list of things, may cause fatigue, don't be out in the sun longer than 5 minutes. So we want to talk to our participants, our patients, to learn what has happened from visit to visit while encountering these drugs and or investigational products. So again, guys, it will, and it drives people back because now they find a level of care that wasn't 30 minutes, wasn't based on the doctor only has to, and again, the doctor would like to be there an hour, but per insurance, they only got 15 minutes because they got to see 30 patients a day. A research clinic, we only see 5 patients a day and could be just as profitable as a physician that's seeing 30 patients a day.
Wow.
Yeah,
That is wonderful. That is really, really good. The other thing that you're doing, again, I love so much about what you're doing. So you're going to keep hearing me say it. The other thing you do that I love, right? I'll just say that over and over and over again. But you didn't take this business and just keep it for you, right?
no.
You have created a team of bosses, right? That you're teaching how to do the same thing. Can you talk about that? Because that's one of the reasons I wanted you to come to the community, right? Is how do we pique someone's interest here, right? That's looking to get in a new line of business, or that can use, like you, their prior experience, right, in some form of healthcare that could translate into managing their own research center, right? So I want to talk a little bit about that. What does this look like? What experience does one need to have? And let's talk about how you've expanded the business.
So it comes with, it's a two-tiered. We either get a naive owner that has been in healthcare, but have a background of maybe project management, have a background in healthcare administration. So you understand that compliance lives here, right? That's that key factor of that tier one. That's my compliance person. They know we got to follow some type of compliance because research is all about protocol and compliance. And then I have like a tier two that's a healthcare professional, maybe a nurse practitioner, maybe an RN, LPN. Some of our owners have been clinical research coordinators or literally worked in the field. So there is that more skilled research tier as well. So you can either be just very new or naive in tier one, or tier two, you're coming from that research background. But what we've been able to do is, because I am great on education, right? And we never stop learning. So depending on where you are, we do like a site capability assessment to assess this person to see what tier do you fall in and what level will we bring you into our brand. So how much will it take us to get you started, and where would you need to go? And then we identify where you're going to place. And then we try, what we've done is in this community, we're asking you guys to, let's reduce overhead, being cost savvy, finding a physician. So once we identify that owner, we now need to find that physician that's going to, I'll use the term medical director, head the clinical trials in their office. Everyone says, well, LaShawn, I just want to go out, I have a building. I want to show you how to become profitable on day one. So we lose profitability if we're now having continued too much overhead. And so we identify, that's our next step. From the tier 1 to 2, you move into now identifying that investigator, which is going to be an MD or a nurse practitioner with a collaborating MD, or a PA with a collaborating MD. So you find that next. And now we're ready to start training and get moving all of your staff that you're going to pair in the team, guys. And this is not a big team, so it could be a 3-person team. We have 2-person team, but as you gain more revenue, then you can get a larger team. So it's not where you need to come in with 10 employees. And then you have the iHealth team. So we are a full management organization that now will back you over your first 4 programs, where you have full oversight. So everything you didn't know, everything you need to know in between, we are teaching you. And our goal is to leave you to be your boss, because there's 15 more bosses that need to be curated in this space. So there's no crab in the barrel mentality. You're going to learn how to have this brand on your own. And that normally takes you 24 to 36 months, right? But we're never going away. As a lot of my founders say, we go together. I kept breaking up. They're like, no, this is
Real bad.
forever.
You go together real bad.
And for a long time, right?
One founder that was like, I don't know where you're going and where you think you're going. It's not. And so because we give you the blueprint and the framework, but it's duplicatable, and then you're able to go out on your own. Or you can stay back with us after our full, we're required to go through 4 cycles of clinical trials, and then you can a la carte our services. So we build a brand where we're always able to be in touch, but not having to, and work parallel with you. We start infused and then we go parallel. And that's how I've been able to create over 12 companies in less than 1 year that are, I shared. And one thing I can share on the way out is our testimonial video. I think that may spark and infuse you guys. I will share that if y'all like, but that has been what we've done with these owners. And these owners are in their own space. But they're driven by the same principles and quality to make that impact, and quote in our tagline, cultivating diversity, equity, and inclusion in clinical research. And so that's kind of how that goes, Tawana. We take you from tier 1 and 2, identification, and then inception, and we're rocking.
Love it, love it. Charity had a question. So Charity says, for example, she's a nurse's aide. Where can she be placed? So let's kind of talk through what that scenario would look like, knowing some of the experience that a nurse's aide would have. How can Charity shift into this space, bringing her experience with her, and then, learning the space?
So Charity, coming from a nursing assistant, I would encourage finding a clinical research center in your area, putting in that year of starting there, because of the fact that, and I don't know if you're planning or currently taking some other type certificates or training, but that would be our goal there. Unless you're saying, you know what, LaShawn, I'm the still entrepreneur outside of my nursing assistant day. I can learn both the business and the model, but I would say starting first in or joining a mentorship or learning where you can mentor with us. But again, I would say start in a mentor, understanding this framework, and then kind of head out to a business. I know people say, well, I want to start tomorrow. That's kind of, I cannot be a founder that would lead you in that way, because building a strong foundation equals stability that will have longevity. So if I want you to have longevity in this opportunity, then I would say mentorship to ownership would be where you would start as a CNA.
Charity, what city and state are you in? Just curious. Just in case in LaShawn's network, right? If some of her existing research centers have openings, that could be, a good beginning. While Charity's putting that in, Sharnetta says she's a licensed physical therapist assistant. Where could she fit in? So using these different kind of clinical positions, I love this exercise because it shows the variety, right? Where one skill set can do. Would it be the same advice for Sharnetta?
It would, because of Sharnetta even being in physical therapy, identifying how you can learn this field. Because again, unless you're tier 1 and feeling you're ready to jump into you can learn as you earn, and never say that. But also I would give the same advice. Mentorship to ownership would be key. Unless you was like, well, Sean, I'm ready to start this. I'm going to find my doctor. Give me this tier 1 space. Then we start that whole consulting piece of it. But again, I would like to say doing that mentorship to ownership so that you can get in and see what this is. But off the street, anyone that said, LaShawn, this is something I want to do, then we're gonna take you from in the tier 1 space, the way you can go from mentorship to ownership. Yes.
Okay. So definitely a better transition if you have some of that foundational compliance experience, to your point, seeing what it really is in real life, right? In practice, right? But if someone says, nope, I'm ready for something new, I'm ready to jump in 3 years, you can start them on the path, right? work with them to open their own research center, and then provide the mentorship as they're doing all the things, right? So we're hand in hand with them in real life, walking them through the relationship building with the providers, right? Finding that PA, that nurse practitioner, or that doctor that they kind of work with, right? From a clinic standpoint, finding the pharmaceutical or manufacturing companies they're going to be working with, right? And
Yes.
then teaching them how to go out into the community and bring the volunteers in that are going to now benefit from all of this hard work. So it's, I love that. So I love that you can jump in kind of in the middle, I'll say, right? Maybe it's a little closer to the beginning, but not quite the end. So I'll say in the middle,
Correct.
or you can start from scratch. I love that you offer both of those options depending on where people are.
Yes, and so when I say that, because you know, owning a business and you think, okay, I've got a logo, I've formatted the business, I have a brand, but now it's just an elf on the shelf, right? It's gonna move around a couple of times before you get to Merry
I
Christmas,
like that
y'all.
analogy.
And just
So,
moving
seasonal,
around,
appropriate.
seasonal appropriate. I'm just moving around. But again, if you are guys, it's a lot of training and understanding that one mentor, have a lead mentor, but you also need to be diving information. So when you meet back with your mentor, you're having a critical thinking conversation. I'm pouring into you, but you're able to receive that. And so we have, even on tier 1 or tier 2, wherever you go, there's a flat consulting fee to start. And again, one day it's going to be a franchise.
Yeah.
Franchising opportunity. Yeah. But we started out with building this brand by having a consulting fee, and we do a capability where you are, whether you're a CNA, a licensed physical therapist. We go through your capabilities, your area, understanding your community, and then we build our consulting flat rate from there. And then after we come in as a consulting flat rate, then we learn how to take a percentage of what the work that we're doing together, so that you have the continuation. So iHealth continues to rise and your company continues to rise by us gathering a percentage of, but again, if you don't get any patients, then that means iHealth. So we're invested in you, not just saying, here's your business in a box, go work it. Nope. Owners flying out, or one of our site regional directors is flying out, boots on the ground. You are not alone. Because some people will say, we see a lot of things that will just give you this business, say, now you got to work it, and here's all the tools, and go to chapter 13, 14, and 15. No, we're going to help you implement chapter 13. We're going to show you how to rewrite chapter 14 if you find things that are not tailored to you because of where you in the tier. So again, that's what comes with this whole package. So you don't just say, hey, I got a mentor, I'm consulting in this brand. No, we're boots on the ground. We literally fly out. We incorporate that as well in the package. So again, you can start at any tier, but as you knowing with anything you're going to get into, it's that research. So that's why I talk about getting out there, finding a site, or either if one of our sites are in your area, being able to go over there and learn or intern in that site to say, whoa, they're seeing patients, they're recruiting patients, they're consenting patients. Wow, we made a difference on this patient's ulcer, diabetic foot ulcer. We've seen it shrink from 6 centimeters to 6 centimeters. And say, okay, that's why LaShawn is excited about this difference. And they look like me and you. And so again, that's kind of how they get started, to want to, from either mentorship, then consulting, from consulting to a percentage split, to just growing this brand and us walking away. Guys, I want to walk away. I want to make you your own boss. You didn't sign up to be a CEO to have another CEO over you for the entire, this framework is a blueprint. Copy and paste, and let's go make every other state, city be able to read efforts. And so now, guys, when we do that, right? When we copy and paste this nationwide, when we get a drug on the market, we include it. And that's the ultimate goal. Oh, that gives me chills because we're
It does.
included.
It really
It's
does. It really does, because so often, because we're not, the outcomes don't take, the clinical outcomes don't take us into consideration. So even when physicians are prescribing us things, right? It may or may not be the best for us, right? Our makeup
right.
is different. And there's so many reasons why we need to be included. One of the things I don't want to get lost in this moment is both Shawnetta and Charity asked the question about, giving their professions. They're both in the state of New York. So of course, my mind always goes to collaboration, right? The two of them could come together and both take advantage, right, of the
Yes.
services you provide. And it could be an upstate New York office, research.
It is.
So I don't know if the two of them caught that, but I definitely did. And y'all need to exchange information, sis.
Me too. And guys, that mentorship can happen sooner than not. I don't know how close you are as a Manhattan. I literally, I don't know how close you guys are to Manhattan, but we definitely offline can talk about it because we just unlocked some new doors over there where a physician has just said, "Hey, I need to build a team," and he's in tier two, but he doesn't have those tier one folks, and that was something that we were talking about. How would you, So again, there is a physician right now in New York that's excited about pushing. So right to the place for our season, guys. So it was a reason for you to be on the call. So I can't wait to connect and learn more about where you guys are and to see if in this position, guys, when the physicians get excited, he's a man of color physician, and he met my Atlanta physician. Guys, I'm just gonna give you a story so to know that if this is something really on your mind, if this is something that's really in your heart for change in 2025, opportunity is there, and you didn't even know that it was there behind the scenes. So sometimes when we speak up, we never know what's happening behind the scenes. But him and my current principal investigator from Atlanta went to a conference, and my investigator was just raving about, man, you have to start research. He's another woman of color. We two men of color. You have to start research. And he was like, they met on Monday, guys. He was ready to close a contract
Wow.
Friday, and I'm like, they met on Monday. He was like, we get on the call, and he says, "Hey, I'm ready." And I'm like, "Okay, slow down. We got a lot of adjustment." But again, he's in learning stage. So I am actually having to really groom something in Manhattan. So again, I don't know where you are in Manhattan. I did see New Jersey come up. We are in New Jersey City, Jersey City, New Jersey. So again, that's pretty cool. I don't know where everyone is, but we are grooming and growing and emerging. And so again, hearing of mentorship is something where you want to go that turns you into consulting. We are open because that's why I got on the call today. I want to see more businesses grow. I want you to get into sustainable business because what people don't realize is when your business grow, it allows you to make new opportunity. So if you have a product that you're trying to bring to market, if you have a tech item you're trying to bring to market, growing revenue on side A could definitely build revenue for side B.
Nice. Very, very good. T-Shine, did you have any questions before I went to the Q&A?
Oh, no. Did you want me to put your email in there into the chat? So, because people seem to want to speak to you directly. I didn't want to just give it to them.
Shawnetta and Charity need to exchange
Yeah,
information.
they need to, everybody needs to get in there.
Everybody needs to change some information, right?
Yes,
So,
everybody needs to get on terms.
Anonymous says, where would public health PhD fall into this opportunity? And how do we get African Americans into this because of history?
PhD will fall into that infectious disease. Again, it's so much work to be done there in diagnostic health and in vitro diagnostics. And so again, and also being an administrator, running their own clinic, and then, being able to, I'm not an MD, but we could definitely hire one, right? I'm not a nurse, but we definitely can hire one. So packaging and leveraging their skill in that public health And that's a very high demand in women's health, men's health, and infectious disease. So same mentorship to consultingship to finding out which tier 1 or tier 2, where they would fit. But in secondary to the second question, can you ask me that one more time? I went it right into the first one. Tawana, what was that second piece of that question?
Anonymous says, how do we get African Americans into this because of history? I think you touched on that a little bit, right? Just the importance of getting into it because of history.
And finding a study that doesn't make them go all in. Everyone needs to test the water. So finding a type of study that can pique them, where we start with healthy volunteer so they can be educated, understand the consent process, understanding their commitment to participation. I think when we threw out everyone jump in a COVID study, well, I've never been in a study before. Why would I jump into a COVID study? You know, is this another Tuskegee experiment? You want to just put a chip in all of us, right? So you can track us. But by the way, guys, they're already tracking us. It's the cell phone. That's the chip. That's the, you know, but kidding. I don't know that to be true.
It's true. Trust.
That's a solution to touch on, but yes. Listen. So guys, it starts there. It's like anything. Just what I just talked about, mentorship to consulting, right? We start with a small scale study. Then they see belief. Or if it's a study that's an indication where they need to ingest something or put a patch or cream, we start to educate. And then we find out what current healthcare is doing for that participant and what is happening with their current provider. We are not bashing your current provider. We're wanting to be an addition, because we're going to keep sending you to your current provider, and we wanted you to not educate them on the study that you may be participating in. So it's a conversion of education. It's a conversion of short span participation to build to those long span participational studies. But it's really start with conversation and comfortability and engaging in education and keeping them engaged through the life cycle of their participation.
Very nice. Tammy Smith says, do you need any sites in Massachusetts?
Anywhere that there's men and women of color, we are open. We are open. Currently, guys, I'll give you a site map. So that means I can ping faster, right? We are in, just so you guys can know the states, well, probably some cities in there. We're in Santa Ana, California. We're in West Memphis, Arkansas. We're in Nashville, Tennessee. We are in Lutcher, Louisiana, 45 minutes outside of Baton Rouge. We are emerging in downtown Louisiana. We are in Pittsburgh, PA. They're emerging. Okay, let's go Pittsburgh. They're emerging in Pittsburgh, PA. We are in West Palm, Florida. We're in North Miami Beach. We're in Atlanta, Georgia. We're in LaVerne, Georgia, like 45 minutes over there by Lawrenceville, Snellville. I think that is a list of everywhere we are right now, with we just put a new pin, possibly engaging in 2025, Manhattan, New York, guys. So that is where we are. If you heard a city near you, you have my email, let's connect. I do 15-minute power calls. So when you come, that's what they are. You book a 15-minute power call. We're going to go over some of those ambitions, where you are in career, where you are in CEO land, and then and where you are in the world and all to get involved in this new opportunity.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Anonymous, could be the same anonymous, could be a different anonymous, said, how do you account for credibility with the trials? They said, I'm looking at a heartburn clinical study. Another is genetic studies. How do you know if they're credible or not?
So guys, one thing, every study that hits the market, because of the Declaration of Helsinki, because of the Elixir Project, because of the Tuskegee experiments, nothing comes to you that is not safe. The Investigational Review Board in the FDA will deem the protocol safe for human use. So before I go and say, hey, let me enroll 10 patients, this study has actually did 5 to 10 years before it has moved into human use. Now, you guys seen emergency use for COVID monoclonal antibodies, and I bring that up to say, well, that was very fast. We didn't have 10 years. It already had been used for 5 to 10 years in cancer patients. Seeing that genetic killing off of those cancer cells, identify those same type of cells in COVID. And I am not the medical director. I'm not the MD. I just have a science background and watching this kind of flow over years where the safety come in, because that's the first thing. Well, how I know that I'm going to be safe in this trial? The Investigation Review Board does not allow any protocol to be approved for investigational participation without hitting those science metrics that is safe to use in humans. Now, all of our bodies do metabolize different, so therefore we could see some comorbidities that activate things, but it could be likely to the drug or not likely to the drug. But that is something that we would watch, and that's why we spend that 30 to 45 minutes an hour in those visits collecting information about what happened to you while you were gone last week. Did you have a headache, stomach ache? Well, is this stomach ache new? Like, is this headache new? And so again, that's how we, but overall and all, that hits that word compliance again. FDA Investigational Review Board allows no investigational product for human use without long study and provability that it's not going to be cancerous. It's not going to be fatal. Guys, before it hits a phase 3 or phase 4, this is again, all these lessons to learn. It goes through a phase 1 and they lock those phase 1 participants into a overnight facility. Those phase 1s can go anywhere from 15 to 30 days. They don't leave. There's a camera in every room. They're getting their blood taken every 15, and people actually participate in this. And some people are professionals because they can make anywhere from 10 to 15 to $20,000. The participants.
That was gonna be
stay
my next question. Is that just to be a participant?
participant.
Isn't that crazy?
A
That's crazy
participant.
good.
I mean, I'm saying you have, I mean, there, you have, but you have the, this is where the criteria comes in to be that type of patient.
Yes.
You can't
But
just
sometimes
be any
we're
old body.
But sometimes, Alicia, it's healthy volunteers because we want to see how it navigates in a healthy person. Did their heart speed up? So we know that maybe the cardio patient may not be good for this trial because they're having tachycardia. This medicine gave people tachycardia, it gave them bradycardia. Breathing, respiratory was labored or sped up. So again, sometimes it's healthy people volunteering to give the outcome for the disease. So a lot of times the phase 1 goes into healthy people, except cancer is the only experimental studies that actually go right into treating those cancers experimentally for those disease set of patients. They do not put cancer drugs often into healthy participants. They put them into, and then the patient is signing. But again, patients are interested because we've been given a terminal illness and it could go left or right either way in the experimental investigational product, or if we take nothing, like the disease process will still just happen. So
I did not think pay was that high. I was thinking a couple of $100 and like a White Castle gift card or something. Like I wasn't thinking
White Castle, no.
thousands of dollars.
now, but Tawana, yes, in a study that you're going to come in, I'm going to get 1 tube, 2 tubes of blood. We're going to do swabbing. It could be $50 to $100, just depending. But if you're in a multi-visit study, the patient can make anywhere from up to $350 to $1,000, depending on, and they're actually given a gift card that it's reloadable. They reuse it. We load it each time they come in. We currently have a study where patients paid $50, and over the course of the study, that's 50, and they have 13 visits, and they get $50 for 13 visits. And
Per visit,
guys,
$50 per visit for 13 visits.
For 13
Where
visits.
was this when I needed extra money? I gave plasma, and I think they gave me like $7 back in the day. Where was this when I was broke?
Yes, the plasma people love us because they were like, oh my God, if I could be in a healthy volunteer study and I have to sit there for, it's crazy. Because sometimes I've heard from the plasma patients that if you don't hit a certain weight or if you're so many things that will allow you not to be able to donate plasma today. I'm like, wow, okay.
Man,
So
okay,
yeah,
okay. I didn't even, my mind went to the business opportunity. I didn't even think about the volunteer opportunity, but it sounds like that is equally as lucrative. That's
it
amazing.
is.
It's not just about the care, right? The health care that they're going to get. There's also compensation for their time, which is huge.
And that's one of the going back to Anonymous point, how do you get paid? How do we move into this? Like we're incentivizing them to come in to find about their healthcare. Where else are you going to be incentivized to get your blood pressure checked?
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I was going to ask the question about the volunteer pay. I want to talk about the clinic, all the roles. So far we've identified obviously the volunteer, right? The physician, right? Physician, PA, nurse practitioner, right? That medical license that all of this kind of works under. The clinical site. How do the roles play out financially, right? And who's paying?
Good question. So guys, another great thing about it is the sponsors paying. All of this, there's, I would say minimal there's out-of-pocket costs, of course, for the physician. Because you got to upfront some things, guys. They don't pay today. It's not Aflac, so it's not, or you at the end of the night you're going to get a deposit. Aflac now you can claim your claim and within hours it's paid. This is not that. Um, but what it is the sponsor is paying the provider and the company, like iHealth, they're paying iHealth for putting together this entire project in their clinic. So therefore, for a study, it could range in couple hundred to a couple $1,000s, and then that is packaged per patient. And then again, there is a split between iHealth. There's a percentage split. So revenue in your first year could definitely be greater than 100K, depending on the project. It could be 50K to 100K depending on the project. And then again, what is it about? Stacking, right? You got multiple projects. So now you have multiple six-figure projects operating in this clinic. And then now the iHealth, the site owner, and the investigator has a split where you can now, both of you guys, if you stack it, everyone can walk away with six figures. If you don't stack it or you stack it enough, we all can walk away with five figures. But once you learn the secret in the sauce, everyone's walking away with six figures. And again, it's not a product you need to sell. You're making an impact in the community. The only selling product is we're going to help you change the framework of your health care. But it is that until the pharma, the sponsor, is producing that six-figure income into that clinic, and that six-figure income or five-figure income, depending on the study, is going to be now dispersed between those three parties.
Very nice. Ms. Beulah has a couple of questions. Her first question says, I read an article where a man made a living taking part in clinical trials. Well, I guess at these rates of return, right? If you can make 10 grand, upwards of 10, 20 grand, yeah, that's not a hard thing to believe now. She said, my sister participated in the clinical trial for Pfizer study for COVID. She learned she got the drug after it was approved. And then she said, are you connected to hospitals or doctors in Nashville, like Meharry, Vanderbilt, or starting Belmont?
So we are not connected to hospitals because of the fact that we're trying to save physicians for selling out to hospitals. This is that capital addition to the hospitals. But there are some medical directors that will, if it's not a study that Vanderbilt has and it's something we have in the community, they will refer out to these independent clinical research centers embedded in private practices. So we're not affiliated with the hospitals. We are working with physicians that are trying to add that capital in their practice, or someone's bringing this idea to a physician to add that capital in practice so they don't need to sell out to those hospitals. But the hospitals do participate. Sometimes they're part of those Pfizer trials that we're part of. We're non-academic, non-hospital driven clinical research sites so that we can give that population, because remember, those people at hospital and academia, those patients are coming to the appointment. They have good insurance. They're being seen routinely. We know that we know their comorbidities versus me getting a patient that only comes once a year for a DLT physical, getting a patient that only comes now because they need to get an STI checkup for having multiple partners, male on male partners. We see a lot of this. So again, same-sex partners. So we see a lot of this in that infectious disease realm that would normally not be visiting those large institutionals, and they do more chronic disease, right? So, and things only turn chronic when you don't take care of them. And so our centers focus more on acute diseases, public health diseases, versus we leave the big things to those Cleveland clinics, those Mayo clinics, those Vanderbilts. We leave those very intense, hard, chronicle things because they have a team of doctors. So our contribution here is will be more acute in the community that may lead to a patient having to go over to Vanderbilt, right? And if it does, they feel safe about participation because we guided them through, and it's like, you know what, I participate in the community trial in our community. Tell me more, doctor. How could this help me? When he would have went, or he or she went to Vanderbilt, they would have immediately said, no, give me the regular treatment, because I know that you guys are just, well, I'm going to be a crash dummy here. I'm going to be a test, it's just going to be a test on me, and they don't understand it yet. So again, again, I call it that parallel working together. We're not infused, but we parallel work together because we have the same mission: pushing research, put more drugs out in the market, and including us into that.
Nice. Very, very nice. Sharnetta says, how many hours per week would the consultants need to commit, and what is the turnaround time for compensation per project?
So I would say a consultant, when you get started with any business, you're going to need those 20 to 30 hours after your day job, right? After that 9 to 5, you're going to need to put in those 3 to 4 hours after dinner. You might need to be up to midnight, but anything worth having is worth working for. So to be honest, I say 20 to 30 hours after a 40-hour week. In the inception, you got to learn, you got to get that process. Now, once you got the process, it's kind of rolling. You may see that shave off to 10 to 15 hours if you have the right team. And of course, we are your right team, right? Secondarily, a sponsor normally pays in 30 to 45. It's called a net 30 and net 45. Realistically, our larger pharmas sometimes take net 60. You can bill it. They actually outsource it to Bulgaria or Asia Pac, right? So it's not even handled in the US. It comes back, it's processed. But again, that is a normal net 45, net 60 is what we see. Some sponsors will honor that net 30 because they've heard we can't run our brand, we can't be impactful in the community. Mortgages on buildings are not due every 60 days, they're due every 30. So again, that is forever changing in the industry, but I will say a framework anywhere from net 45, net 60.
Very good. Ms. Beulah, I see you said you were interested if there was a Nashville site coming. What's your professional experience? Just curious.
And it's nice to see you, Ms. Beulah. You made it to the Monday.
Oh, that's right.
Here we
Ms.
go.
Beulah was struggling with the Monday set, not getting those emails. That's right.
Mhm.
Very, very good. Tracy,
Okay,
I agree. That was a nice distinction that LaShawn gave.
Guys, I'm a trainer at heart, so don't know nothing about research. Hello, let's go. because there's not enough of us at the table. And there's not enough, if I can say this, kick-ass Black women and Black men at the table. So I have to say, if we gonna do it, we gotta do it, operate in excellence. We gotta operate in we gotta take the gloves off and show them I often tell my team, I got a folding chair from Family Dollar, and I stopped by and got one from Dollar General, and I brought it to the table. I folded it out and sat down because they didn't have a seat at the table for me, and that's how we have broke the barriers and made the gap. So they didn't give me a table, they didn't give me an executive chair. I got I often say that because we recognize in the indigent community, what are we going to see, guys? A Family Dollar. What are we going to see? A Dollar General. So I stopped by and got me one of those folding chairs. And I said, we're going to make an impact here. And then finally offered me this executive chair that and now we're able to allow you to stop by and get your chair and come, and build up to that executive chair. It is here for the asking. It's healthcare. It's not going anywhere. You're going to see more people jump into clinical trials because of the fact that insurance just not going to do it. I'll give an instance. And just so you'll know, if you have this is something I can talk about right now. You have a wound on your foot. Medicare, Medicaid wants to see you every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks. You're left to be home to change that wound, your wound covering and dressing yourself. Again, those people already have other comorbidities that are slowing them down anyway. So having to be the captain of that ship is sinking fast, guys. So getting in a clinical trial that offers no cost visits every week has changed the framework of our patients, have changed the outcome of our patients, that they have been going to wound care bi-weekly and it wasn't healing. Seeing someone every 7 days and getting dressings at no cost. Everything that the patients ingest or take or need within a clinical trial, we provide it at no cost. We send them home with the dressings. We send them home with the coverings. We send them home with the medicines. We Uber them, we use Uber Health. So we use Uber Health. We bring them in. We don't throw them on some van and make them feel like they're going to a doctor's office. We put them in Uber Health and we bring them in and they leave like they're being chauffeured away. We try to change the framework so that we're able to have them excited about seeing about their health. Right. So again, and that's what I'm infusing into this blueprint. Not just an opportunity, but change and education. Because a lot of this, no one has no clue. This wasn't talked about at my barbecue.
Right. No, never. Well, you see, I didn't know about it until we met you. So yeah, never. Beulah says she's got an MS guidance and counselor. She's a certified nursing assistant pursuing her clinical psychology with a specialty in medicine. Okay.
You know when you're talking to patients and you know the conversations that are being had. So cannot wait to finally have a Power 15 with many of you here. I'm here to offer opportunity and cannot wait to see where we can elevate together.
Sharnetta ain't playing, okay? Sharnetta asking some.
You ready?
Sharnetta asking some questions here, okay? She said, "What's the startup cost for the consultants?"
All right, guys, here we go. Boom, 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 boom. Starting consulting is $25,000. That ranges to $50,000. But one thing I can tell you, we do a percentage down. Let's talk about that, guys. I don't need to check your credit. We're not a firm. If you say, LaShawn, I want to get into this, it's 25, but it's 25 to 50. And the reason I say 50, guys, when you're closer to tier 1, okay, it's a lot of work. But it will take you one clinical trial, placing one clinical trial, and there's nowhere you can make your investment back with closing one contract. I promise you, if you put in the work, one trial, you make your investment back. And it's guaranteed. It's not like, oh, okay, again, we know when we're putting together different sales items, it's peak things. Like talk about pumpkin spice latte. that thing comes around, and in October when it finally drops, if you a Starbucks like I am, you waiting in line and you at Starbucks, pumpkin spice latte drops. So it's seasonal. This is not something that's seasonal. So then you don't have to wait to a certain season to have that growth. And it's not one and done, because the clinical research organization, when you're good, they're knocking back on your door because of the fact that they have another product and they need to move that product to market with quality and compliance and leaders that get it. And then patients that you're able to identify and serve that is of the diverse community, guys. It came out, and I go long and get long-winded, but I want to remind you, because when you hear 25,000 and 50,000, you're like, LaShawn, whoa. But I like to put these markers in place so you can understand why they're there, because there's a mandate, there's a demand, there's a 26-page FDA demand as of June, July of 2024. We have to be present in clinical trials or the drug doesn't make it to market. So the sites that look like us have to open and develop. And there's not enough men and women of color in this space. So this is an open opportunity. So it's not just and again, guys, we did start consulting at a different rate, but we learned what it's taken to get you here. And so that rate allows you to get where you need to be, and not in 2 years, but in 6 months.
Right.
Not in
And don't
2 years.
forget, to the community members that are really considering this, don't forget, you know people who can raise capital for you right here in this community. So
Yes.
25 to 50 doesn't sound like a lot when your connect is right here. So consider that as part of the plan as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. That is amazing. So starting there, and then we have a percentage that we take. And so it's kind of like a 60-40. Your business is going to take 60. And these are transparent numbers. So, sometimes you're talking to people, you get to write this down and go home with it. My numbers doesn't change when I talk to 4 or 5 other people. I love transparency in numbers. So you'll know that you're moving in the right direction. Well, you want to talk to her price? No, we don't do that. This is transparency in numbers, because you need to be able to calculate how you're going to get your wealth back or get your wealth going. So it's a 60-40. We take 35% in, and then we keep a 5% for QA. Why do we keep a 5% for QA? Because we want you to be compliant. You cannot make any revenue if compliance is out the window. So we like to have an outside company come in and put eyes on the work that we're doing. So we take 5% per patient for that compliance.
So Beulah, I think I feel like I'm reading into what you're gonna ask, but I want to rephrase your question. And if I get it wrong, please correct me and I'll ask it the way you asked it. But LaShawn, is there anything about the incoming administration that could change the rules, right? You talked about the 26-page document that says we've got to be represented. Is there anything about clinical trials or healthcare that affects this space with the new administration coming in that you feel like could change the landscape?
I will say no today, but on January 20th, guys, I cannot say, because we're seeing the DEI with Walmart pulling back, right? But again, that they actually back that administration. But I cannot foresee them being able to infiltrate that into clinical trials. But anything's possible. But I would say this. Contingency is we work with positive and try to hope that that is not the case. But this mandate has been being pushed so that I think sponsors are going to stay in that realm, because the government kind of doesn't run those companies like Pfizer's and J&J's. They're trillionaires on their own, right? The government's actually tapping in for them to actually run studies for them, that like through the NIH. Pfizer will have a contract through the NIH, but they literally have a government division. So that means their commercial side could not be affected by this DEI policies, but maybe their government side could be. But most sponsors, the drug makers, have two sides. They have a commercial side and they have a government side. Probably making more on the commercial side than the government side because of the red tapes that we encounter in the government space.
And when you think about the history of clinical trials, right? We've switched, right, from Democrat to Republican many times over. In your experience, again, with your years of experience, even your pharmaceutical experience prior to being CEO, do you find that there was a lot of change in that area when the administration flipped from one to another? Or typically did things stay the same?
Okay, we typically stay the same, but guys, you remember when administration changes, then that means the people that were still in that frame of mind, if they carried a seat, they could block the men and women of color, but later find out that that was also detrimental to their team because we bring a sense of when we take a seat in such a prominent role, we bring a sense of excellence versus our counterparts. And they've learned that maybe no, I do need to include 5 more men and women of color former as a part of this project because we've seen what the other counterparts don't bring to, and we're not moving, or my sponsor is not happy. So that clinical research organization began to now say, I need a man, a woman of color on my team because I know we burn countless hours for others before we burn countless hours for ourselves. So that's what I've seen. Even when you see the change that accelerates, when it's decelling too far, you see the beacon start going back, and now you see more global leaders that look like me. You see more global project managers that look like me because of the project is decelling quickly and the sponsor. By the way, guys, when clinical trials don't go to market, they lose anywhere from $1 million to $2 million a day.
Wow.
So when we don't make it
They are
to
motivated to make sure you succeed.
yes,
Wow.
yes, yes. So every day that we don't meet our enrollment goal, every day a clinical trial is not meeting their enrollment goals so that they can present this clinical study report to the FDA so that they can move to approval, they can lose anywhere from $1 million to $2 million. Why? Because they have stakeholders that are making 7 figures a year annually. They have team members that are 6-figured employed, high end. I'm talking about the 350s, the 450s, associates, directors, bringing it on down to the people that are making 150. Bringing it on down to the site that they're paying 6 figures to. Every day that we're not moving to getting this drug to closure, to show the data, to move to market, could be $1 million to $2 million past the timeline. So that's right. That's why the patients are incentivized. That's why all the material are included. We need no barriers to stop this enrollment from grabbing the data so we can make an informed decision that this drug is right for market.
Yeah. And Talisha did add the FDA mandate into the chat. She put the link there so you could read that document to learn more about the space and learn more about what the FDA's approach, to making sure diversity is in action. So thanks, Tishan, for that. All right. Any other questions for Miss LaShawn?
This has been great.
Yay. They asked some really good questions. They are into this topic tonight. I love it. LaShawn, what do you want to leave us with?
I'm gonna pause. I want to leave you guys with encouragement. You took the opportunity to jump in here tonight. That was the first step, to hear something new, something that didn't sound like what we've all been used to as growing a brand or a business. And I leave you with knowing that you can make an impact in this space. And I think that we're looking for those leaders that just can do it and want to make a change. I'm excited that I've been able to be fortunate to share, make an impact. By the way, guys, and also be family, woman, a wife, a sister, a new Mimi. I want to put that out there. I want to leave y'all with, no, I'm just not someone stomping in these heels. Um, CEOs wear scrubs too. You can catch me in my scrubs. So I want to leave you with, I am just as you are. I'm a human. I'm a woman. I'm a business owner. So outside of, just rolling up my sleeves, I want to leave you with to be encouraged that you took the step to even come today to find out what else can me and the 10K project take on and become successful in. But also, I'm human and it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to be undecided. And it's okay to wear many hats because as women and men, we wear many hats. And so I want you guys to know I am not just 1000% business. I am a mom. I'm a wife. I'm a sister. I am the best TT ever. That's what they say. But and now I'm a Mimi, guys. So wearing all these hats, I want you to know that this is not just for that businesswoman that shuts off the world. And this is for our everyday success. Leadership, winning is for the everyday woman. And that's me. So that's what I'm leaving y'all with because I know you think but it's packaged well, but it also came with the support and love of those people that allow me to do it. It gives me chills when I talk about this because I just want you to be able to dig deep within and just not think about it's not just business, it's the whole person. And then this makes me feel good to do it. But it also makes me feel good to cut it off and close it down and be human. So thank you.
Thank you for that. No, thank you for that. Sharnetta had another question. She wants to know what business structure would be needed. It's an LLC? Is it a C Corp?
I am a C Corp. I like incorporation. I like how it is stacked and put together, allowing you to take on partnerships, take on partners. I like the corporation model of it all versus the LLC.
Very good. Beulah says, what are they studying in Nashville? Are there different trials at each location? So let's go with that question. Is each location in the varied states researching something different?
We do and we don't. So we call it a lottery system, depending on where the site, what they have going on and what the prevalence is, guys. We go off of patient population and what is actually prevalent in that area. So if I see a lot of diabetes in this area, then a diabetes trial will go there. If I see a lot of public health issues, then public health will go there. If it's flu or cold season, which started in Jersey, I have a flu or cold study starting there. So depending on the area and the prevalence of sickness, of disease, then but we do copy and paste a lot. So you may find 4 or 5 sites, 8 to 10 sites with the same study, but it does require prevalence and patient. It's geared to patient population in that area.
Very good. Very good. Thank you, my dear.
All right.
Really,
Thank you
really
guys for having
appreciate it.
me.
Yes, I mean, we know how busy you are, and to carve out a little bit of time for us to educate the community. Thank you so very, very much. Just super, super excited. Again, meeting you and hearing about this and listening to you talk about how important it is, not just for the volunteers to be able to have exposure, but for other potential CEOs to have exposure to this space. I knew we needed to bring you back and talk about this.
Yes.
So, thank you for the 15-minute consults that you're going to be giving, because I think you're going to get some interest. I know Sharnetta's calling you.
But I put your email in there several times, so I'm pretty sure they grabbed it.
I love
If
it. I
easy, let me know.
love it.
I'll be able to put it back in there.
I love it. Beulah says, I'm looking at clinical alopecia areata study. Help how, I'm not sure what she means by that last part, but the alopecia areata study. So she's looking at that. So apparently they got a lot of studies going on in Nashville and Nashville area. She's named quite a few.
Two, and again, guys, it just depends. So many, remember, there's so many specialties, so many therapeutic areas. So studies are from derm to endocrinology, from cardiology to women's health. So public health, infectious disease, so many different specialties. As we know, like I say, got to have a specialist for this. So again, you get so many studies that will tailor to different comorbidities, different disease states. So yes, alopecia is the big one. People are seeing that for no apparent reason. Hair is just not growing. And so,
So I've got a question, and if I am someone, can you just Google where there are active trials? Like, so I'm thinking if I was somebody who had alopecia and I wanted to know if there was a clinical trial, is there a site you go to that readily find that information, or is that simply a Google search? I mean, how could a potential volunteer find studies for illnesses or ailments they know they have?
so there are a lot of companies and you guys know, like if we talk about this now, everybody on this call will start seeing when they go on Facebook, LinkedIn, studies are just going to pop up. But you can just
Because we being tracked, that's why.
This is a great one we already have that in our community. Gina Malik has a tool to match
yes,
people with,
That's right.
he has a
Oh, and
match.
Gina's coming the
She's
first
coming
week in
January
January,
the
right?
6th. Yes, she's coming there to speak to her about her fire mini course, but she does. That's why you definitely need to talk to Gina
They've
about
been connecting already. Remember, we
Oh,
connected them after.
oh, good. I wanted to make sure
so
you,
guys, by the way, Gina made a post and I put it on our community. And my community is joining the post and it's going crazy on LinkedIn. So she made a post by the like a week ago. And then I was like, okay, I tagged like some heavy hitters in my community and they have just been all over it from
perfect.
all. And
That's
so
what we want
again,
to hear.
so connections in here are coming, making it out the group chat, as my daughter say. Gotta make this out of the group chat. And so the connection on LinkedIn with Gina turned into me connecting her in my research community, and people are now going to her info course to learn about
Fire.
breaking into health tech.
Yeah, her fire mini course is amazing. So yeah, but she also does that. It's like she has a gambit of products specifically for healthcare, but the clinical trial part, she has an AI tool that helps you kind of match the participants with the correct studies. So
Yeah.
we
So
can
we'll
talk
talk.
about
Well,
that.
I know she's coming to talk to us about fire, but we need to talk about this also
Yes,
when
I'll
she
tell her to
comes
post
in a
about
couple of
it.
weeks.
Sure.
Yay!
Diving into that, guys, I said, "Oh my God, you do!" We haven't had a chance to connect, but when I see her fire course, I'm like, there is so many people that I see that are in that transition of looking for and in tech, and so I was like, so hopefully the course was able, we were able to drive some traffic to the course because I
Yeah.
think it's, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be wonderful as well. I saw the same post, and that's when I was like, yeah, we got to get you here to talk about it. So she's coming the first Monday in January. That she'll be our first guest after we take a little holiday break. So that's nice. So actually, I love that because you're our last guest before we take our holiday break. And so now matching it with the conversation is kind of in line. It's a very, very nice transition.
It is. So thank you very much. We truly
Thank you
appreciate
so
you.
very much.
Thank you both, ladies. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
And to the 10K Project community, thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out with us. We had another amazing year. We will have a pitch tomorrow. So hopefully you all can join us live for that. But it's been an amazing year. We've blessed so many founders, and we have done good work. And so we're only able to do that because this community rides for us. And so we thank you so very, very much. Let's see what else. Any closing statements, Talisha? We'll definitely put this in the newsletter so you'll have LaShawn's information for anyone watching the replay. I know we've been putting in the chat, but we'll make sure we add it in the Deal Flow newsletter. Do you guys love Talisha's new Deal Flow design? Oh my God, I love it. If you have not opened the email for the Deal Flow, you have to open it. The design is dope. So thank you, Tishan, for that. We also have, if you're interested in still doing a little Christmas shopping and you need mystery boxes for jewelry and accessories, please let me know. I'm making my last trip to the post office on Friday. And then we'll probably shut that down. So if you want some last minute jewelry and accessory items, please, please, please let me know and we will get that to the post office ASAP. I think that's it, guys. I think that's it. I think it's
Definitely
it.
join us
Thank
for
you.
our last pitch of the 2024. So you got one more chance to kind of
Yep.
come hang out with us. So
Yeah, so tomorrow, 8 p.m., we will see you. The founders would love to have you here in person. You know, I always say that because I mean it. They love, love, love to have you here in person. Even though we appreciate you watching the replay, we've got a great open rate on our replays, but the magic happens when we're all right here and the founders get to answer your questions and you know, really, really get engaged. Like tonight. I mean, you guys had some wonderful questions tonight for LaShawn. So all right, everyone, we appreciate you. Opal said she loved the new Deal Flow email, so very good. So did I, Opal. And then Tracy said, oh, she has a company that sends her clinical trials to match her as well. So that's good. So that software is already out there, but we're going to start using Gina's. we're gonna start using Gina's, get hers out there in front of
Cannot wait to hear more about that when we slow
me.
down and really connect, because I'm sure there's someone in my community. I can't wait to hear more. I'm just running, guys, and that's a great run, but I definitely can't wait to connect with her.
Yeah. All right, everyone, have a wonderful, wonderful evening. If we don't talk to any of you again, if you can't make it tomorrow to hear us love on you a little bit more, have a wonderful holiday season. We know that for some, this is the most wonderful time of the year. We know for others, not so much. Wherever you sit in that space, try to carve out a little bit of time just for you. Love on you a little bit. And remember that we love you here at the 10K Project because without you, we don't exist. So thank you so much for always standing by us and beside us and coming week after week to support us. So thank you very, very much. Good night, everybody.
Bye.